Good afternoon everyone. Welcome into my craft room for another Friday session of Stamp and Chat Live. I wasn't here last week because I took a week off. I had a holiday in Cornwall with my daughter and we had a fantastic time. The weather was a bit iffy, but it didn't matter because really we just wanted to spend time together, and we had a whole week of that, which was very precious. Those of you who have grown-up children who you get on very well with will know how difficult it is to carve out some time just for you and them, because I'm sure they've got busy lives and I've got a busy life. So it was very, very special indeed, and I came back feeling rejuvenated. I have to admit I'm feeling a bit tired today. Having had a week off, I've done a lot of catching up this week, and getting back into a normal routine feels quite strenuous actually, but there you go. Okay, I can see Sandy's here, welcome. I'm just going to have a look on my iPad and see who else is here. Okay, because I can't see comments properly unless I have another screen. Where are we? There we go. Turn the volume down. And it looks like I'm live there, which is always good. Okay, and Pam is there too. Pam says hello to everyone, and hello to you, Pam. Thanks so much for tuning in on this beautiful, beautiful sunny Friday afternoon. I know people watch this both live and on the replay from all over the place. In fact, all over the world, which is quite astonishing to think about it. But certainly here on the south coast of England, it is absolutely gorgeous today. I'm looking out the window, not a cloud in the sky. It's that beautiful bright blue spring sky. The birds are singing, the garden is blossoming, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and you would never believe the rain we had had just a few days ago, but today is lovely. It's really quite warm. They're saying tomorrow is going to be beautiful here too. I certainly hope so. I've got something special planned to do tomorrow, which I mustn't mention because it's a surprise for the person concerned. I'm absolutely sure they're not watching, but just in case, I have to be very careful. All right, so where are we? It's Friday afternoon. I hope you're all going to have a lovely weekend. Tell me what you've got planned. While I think about it, I am not going to be here next Friday. I'm sorry, it's been a bit hit and miss, hasn't it? Because I wasn't here last week either. But next Friday, everybody in the UK will know, of course, that we have a 4-day weekend to celebrate the Diamond Jubilee of Her Majesty the Queen. So next week we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday as a long weekend of celebrations. I've got various things planned, including we have a bring and share meal and drinks on our little tiny village green here in Portmore. Well, it's a hamlet really, but hamlet green sounds a bit strange as a phrase. So we've got lots happening next weekend. So I won't be doing a live on Friday. I'm taking Thursday and Friday off along with the rest of the nation, or the rest of the nation who can be spared from essential duties anyway. So there won't be a live next Friday, and there won't be a newsletter either. And I'm really sorry to tell you, but there won't be one the following week either. I hadn't realised till I sat down and looked at my diary today that I'm missing another 2 Fridays on the trot. Next Friday I've got a university reunion. It is scarily 40 years since we all started at university, all the people on my course. So there's a whole bunch of us getting together in our university town and catching up and all the rest of it. And I'm half really excited and half terrified because 40 years is a scarily long time. So yes, we'll all be very different. Some of us, well, most of us probably, will have ended up with lives that we could never have imagined when we were 18. And if you do the maths, you can work out how old I'm going to be on my next birthday. So there we are. So I apologise for not providing my standard service for the next couple of Fridays, but I hope you understand. One of the joys of the job I do as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator is that I set my own hours. And so whilst I try to not mess around my classes too much, the other bits and pieces I do, sometimes I tailor them to fit in with my life rather than the other way around, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. So let's have a look. I've seen another few things coming up. Mary's here. Mary says hello to everybody, and Maureen is here, so you are all very welcome. All right, so today in a minute I'm going to break out the bleach in a very controlled and careful way, because we all know what bleach can do, and have a little bit of crafting fun with it. Now, some of you may know all about this, and for some of you it might be new. I've had some interesting comments since I announced what I was doing in this session, and it seems that some people certainly have not seen this before. So I hope that I will open your eyes to something that's just a little bit different. Until then, let me give you a few Stampin' Up reminders. So the huge bundle of free products in the new in colours, paper, ink, glimmer card, it goes on and on. When you join Stampin' Up, that big free bundle of goodies, that offer ends on Tuesday, which I think I'm right in saying it's Tuesday, isn't it? May the 31st. Yeah, ends on Tuesday. So if you have been on the fence about joining Stampin' Up, then I urge you to finally make a decision. I hope the decision will be that you will join. You can get hold of me on email as usual and ask me any questions you may have, or you can send me a Facebook Messenger message and I will get back to you in time for you to join before that fantastic offer ends. I spent yesterday evening crafting online with a whole load of my Stampin' Up friends, and every single person that I was chatting with and crafting with last night is somebody I met because I joined Stampin' Up, and it was an absolute joy to be there. We were all over the country and it was just fantastic. So that's just one of the wonderful things about being a Stampin' Up demonstrator. So that ends. We have got a new exciting promotion coming on June the 1st, which is Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday next week. So we lose the Join Stampin' Up promotion, although you can join at any time and you always get free things when you join. But anyway, starting on June the 1st, there is a special promotion on the kits. Now, you've seen me create here with kits before, not that long ago. I did an unboxing and creating with the notice board kit, which is absolutely beautiful. And I've shown you all sorts of other things as well to do with the kits, and we've got a whole lot of them available. So from June the 1st, if you buy one kit, you can choose a second kit for half price. And the really good thing is it's the most expensive one that you can have half price. So I'll be telling you more about that as we get into the promotion actually starting. And if you're on my newsletter list, I'll be putting all the details out this afternoon in the newsletter. But in the meantime, you might like to have that in the back of your mind. The kits are absolutely fantastic for taking away on holiday. I took some with me when I went on a cruise back at the beginning of the year. It all came into a little box. My box was bigger than smaller than A4 in size. Everything was in there that I needed, including the glue, and it meant that I could really easily pack up some crafting to take away with me. And if you're thinking about going away in a caravan, on an aeroplane, or even just crafting in the garden, then the kits are fantastic. They're also really brilliant if you're looking for activities to do with children, because several of them are very child friendly. Most children from about 8 years and onwards would even be able to craft with them on their own with minimal supervision. The instructions are very clear, everything's in the box, and the prices are great at the best of times, particularly if you choose an all-inclusive kit, because that's got ink pads and stamps in it that you can use afterwards. But if you're going to get one half price, it's even better. So from June the 1st, you can see all the current kits available if you go to my online shop, which is at sallybowman.stampinup.net, and they don't put them into the catalogues. The kits are only available to view online, although if you wanted some suggestions, you can get in touch with me and I'll be happy to suggest whatever seems most appropriate for you and your interests. All right, I've got a list here. Oh yes, the last chance list. So I'm going to hold up a catalogue. The writing I think will be back to front, but don't let that worry you. So this catalogue, one with the windmill on the front. We've only got a month left on that catalogue, and from Wednesday next week, June the 1st, all the things that haven't carried over into the new annual catalogue are on a while stocks last basis only. Pretty much everything has got really huge discounts on it. You'll be able to see all the discounts in my online shop from Wednesday, but there are lots of things with 30% off, 50% off even. But do remember that they are while stocks last only. I don't want you to be disappointed. If there's something you've been thinking, oh yeah, I'll get that, then now you need to get it. Everything is available as normal and at normal prices until the end of Tuesday, and then from Wednesday the 1st of June it's while stocks last only. So you'll be able to, again, on my website, to see the entire list of everything all priced up, but just to kind of a heads up for you for that. And last of all, one of the perks of being a demonstrator is that we can see new catalogues before you guys can, and we can even order from them early. And I have seen this week the new July to December mini catalogue. We used to call that the autumn winter catalogue, but now we call it the July to December catalogue. So it covers things for late summer, for autumn, for harvest, Halloween and Christmas and New Year, and I can tell you they've knocked it out of the park with this one. There's some absolutely stunning things in there. I'm so excited to be able to order them. I can order those from next week, and we will be having another celebration as well, which is very exciting, another 2 months worth of celebration. And I need to tell you that this celebration catalogue is the best one I have seen in many, many years. I want everything in it. It's absolutely fabulous. So there are some treats coming up. And if you've bought from Stampin' Up before, you will know that during celebration, you get something for free every time you spend £45. So what's not to like about that? So lots and lots of things to look forward to in the future. Okay, so Soraya, hello, how lovely to talk to you online again. It feels like forever since I've actually seen you, but thank you so much for joining me today. All right, so I think it's time for me to turn the camera down. I'll tell you a little bit about the supplies I've got, and then we'll get on and have a little bit of crafting fun. So let me just find something to cover you over with so that you don't feel motion sick as I move all this. I'll try and remember to keep talking so you know I'm still here. Right, okay. And I will also have to fiddle around almost certainly with some of my leads once I get the camera sorted, because they always dangle everywhere and it's pretty annoying. Right. So let's see what that looks like and then see what I need to adjust. You all know by now that I'm 3D challenged, and so I always move things one way and then I need to move them a different way. Okay, so you could do with seeing a little bit more desk and a little bit less leg from my tripod. And let's move this all over a bit. Okay, push that back. Right, move that up a little bit more, and I think we might be there. Trying to find the end of my washi tape to get rid of the leads. Okay, this one will just sit over the back, but this one has got to be kind of coiled up and washi taped out of the way. So let's hope. Oops, now I've got my washi tape all stuck together. Try that one again. Okay, nearly there, nearly there. This is the joy of a live broadcast, isn't it? I can't get all this slickly done before I hit record on the camera. There's a lot of live stuff that goes on. Okay. Ooh, this is still a bit skew-iff, isn't it? I never know which way to move it. This is what I mean about I can never work out which way. Right, I've moved that slightly one way. It's probably the wrong way because it usually is. Yeah, it's the wrong way. Oh dear, I don't know why I can't remember. There we are. Is that better? Hopefully that's better. No, it's not. It's worse. It's right the first time. All right. Okay. I think once my iPad catches up, I should hopefully be able to. There we are. That's better. There's quite a long delay on it. Okay. So stamping with bleach then. The first thing to say is, if you are crafting along with me, open a window. Make sure you're working somewhere that is well ventilated. I've got 2 windows open in my craft room, which may be why you can potentially hear traffic noise, for which my apologies. But you should also get quite a lot of bird song as well, because the birds are going mad in my garden. I've just spent an arm and a leg on more supplies of bird food because the babies are starting to visit, which is lovely. So there's lots of bird song, which is wonderful. All right, I've got some grid paper down to protect my desk. Depending on what you're working on, you definitely want to have something down to stop bleach damaging the surface you're on. You might even need a waterproof surface underneath, an old polythene bag or one of those plastic tablecloths, something like that. I've got some kitchen paper here. I'm going to use some, actually it's for one of the techniques in a minute, but it's also handy to have it available just for kind of general mopping up. I've got a couple of plastic lids here. Now you can use anything that's not going to react with the bleach. I would hesitate to use anything that's got a decorative paint finish on it or metallic paint or anything like that. But if you've got glass plates or china saucers, anything like that, that will work. Something that you're not going to use to eat off. So this was, I'm not sure what this was. This looks suspiciously like a Pringles lid to me. And I've got a large Greek yogurt lid here. So I'm going to use that for one of the techniques in a minute. For the moment, I should just be using that one. And this is just, they're just to contain your bleach, just to keep it in one place. And then I've got some bleach. The main supermarket in the town I live in is Waitrose, and they don't sell a thin bleach. But if you can get hold of a thin bleach, I like that better. I find it slightly more manageable and you get really good results with it. The cheaper the better. But this is just standard thick bleach, and this will work fine. It's just a little bit more viscous, so you have to take a little bit more care working with it, but it's absolutely fine. I have an aqua painter here. I'm not using the water in the barrel, so this is an empty aqua painter, so I'll be using that for my brush. I really like the bristles on here. They're very good quality. And they rinse out very easily because they're nylon. However, you could use any old paintbrush. I wouldn't use your best one. I wouldn't use your expensive watercolor brush, but but any other kind of brush will be absolutely fine. Hello, Kay. Thank you for joining us. Lovely to have you here. All right, so let's put out some bleach first of all. Actually, no, before I do that, I ought to just give you a few more cautions, oughtn't I? I've said about a well-ventilated room. Make sure you don't get bleach in your eyes. Try not to get it on your skin, especially if you have any kind of skin sensitivity. And wear old clothes, or as I'm doing, wear an apron. I haven't put my smart Facebook Live shirt on today. I've got an old t-shirt on covered up with my old paint stained apron, because just in case I splash bleach, I'm sure you're the same as me, no matter how careful you are with bleach, occasionally it splashes on something and ruins it. So we're not going to be doing anything that's very splashy, but even so, and afterwards when you rinse everything out, there's obviously a danger of splashing yourself then as well. So wear some old clothes. But you know, if you clean the bathroom with it, you're going to be safe crafting with it. So I don't want to panic you. Okay, right, so I'm going to put a little bit of bleach in here. Now I only want, for the first thing I'm going to show you, about, I don't know, half a teaspoonful to a teaspoonful. There we go, that's probably plenty. I'm going to put that well out of the way. So I don't imagine this will show very well, but I've got, I would think, about half a teaspoonful in there. Very little, you can always pop a bit more in, but you're not going to need very much. Okay, and I'm just going to show you how you can apply it to some card to change the colour of your card, and then I'm going to talk about a few ideas. So I've got my aqua painter here, and I'm just going to pick up some bleach as if it was paint. Now, because this is thick bleach, I don't know if it probably won't show, but it kind of strings when you pick it up. No idea whether that will show. I don't think it's really showing. And it's very easy, if you pick up your brush and go straight to your card, for that string to fall down onto your card, and then you will have a bleached streak on your card. So just be aware, if you're using thick bleach, to kind of lift up the brush and let that stringing finish before you then come over to your card. And I'm just going to paint this on and show you the effect bleach has on card. Now, some cards it works immediately, some card it takes until the bleach has dried. I'm not doing anything particularly attractive or artistic here, but I just want you to see what happens. Now, this is soft succulent card, and this bleaches really, really fast. So you can see almost instantly that card has bleached in colour. Wherever the bleach has touched it, it's turned to a like a pale lime green. You can see here these darker areas haven't quite dried yet. When they do, those areas are going to go the same. So that is the first thing to do. If you've never done this before, pull out all your coloured card and make a little sampler, because every single colour of card reacts differently to the bleach. So I'm just going to move this where I'm not going to knock it over and show you a sampler that I made using my green card. So I've got all the green cards here, which I have labelled, and I've brushed on there, and I've also stamped on them. I'm going to do stamping with you in just a minute, but you can see the different colours that it goes. So this is almost an orange. This is quite a yellowy green. This is much yellower. These two are a creamy white. This one here, which is mint macaron, has gone to a pale green. And soft sea foam has bleached to a very cream colour. I'll lift that up and kind of move it across as well, and try and show you all the colours. I'm also negotiating the wires here. Let's try and get that at the beginning. There we are. I really am rubbish. I'm watching myself on my iPad, and I have to kind of do a mirror image of what I think I need to do. So I'm hoping you can see how differently all the colours bleach. So you would think that everything would just bleach out to white, but it doesn't. Some are very yellow. Some are quite white. Some are more orange. There we go. So very, very different. So I would suggest you do that, because then you can keep this as reference. So you'll instantly know what colours you're going to get. Different brands of card will work differently, I'm sure. I've just used stamping up here. I've just used all the greens. So the first thing you can do then is to paint the bleach on. And I'm going to talk about stamping with the bleach in a little while. But what I will do is show sort of the next step on from stamping with the bleach. I'm looking for that piece of card. There we go. I actually picked up the wrong one. I've meant to work on something different, but that's fine. So I'm just going to turn this one over and work on the back for what I'm going to do next. So I'm now going to stamp in Stays On ink. Stays On because the colour doesn't change too much or at all with the bleach. Whereas if you stamp in our water-based inks, they are very often affected by the bleach, and that's a whole other thing you can play around with. So I'm just going to stamp on here. Okay, I'm using the beautiful flower. I always think of this as being an echinacea. I don't know if it actually is, from Nature's Harvest. So that's just my stamped image. And now I'm going to bring back my brush and my bleach, and I'm going to just start to paint in the flower petals. And you're a bit further away from it than I am, but I can see almost instantly that that card is bleaching to a new colour. As I say, this one, Soft Succulent, bleaches really fast. Some of them take a little bit longer, and I'll pick it up for you in just a second so you can see. There we are. So I now have pale yellow flower petals on a green background. And so I can continue to colour with bleach, or I can use this bleaching in conjunction with other things like watercolour pencils, for instance. I've used StazOn, so I can use a water-based medium on top. Stamping Right markers, a clean water painter with some ink to paint in. Because obviously if I bleach the whole of this, I'm going to have my petals, my flower centres, my leaves and stems, they're all going to bleach out to the same colour because the bleach is just affecting the colour of the card. So if I want, say, I don't know, brown centre to my flowers, I need to add that brown in some other way. So let me know if you've got any questions. I'm hoping that that is clear. Andriana's saying, this is so cool. She didn't know that you could do it. Yeah, it really is cool, Andriana. The most exciting thing, I think, is not quite knowing what colours you're going to get when you try it on card for the first time, which is why I think making a sample is a great idea. But it is really, really cool. Okay, something else you can try is to emboss a piece of card. So this is the Painted Posies embossing folder. This is a new one. What I need is a large piece of something to put inside so you can see it. Let me just sandwich it over the top of that black card I was using. There we are. I'm hoping you can see the pattern. So this is like a flower meadow. I didn't think this one through, did I, about showing you? There we are. I think you can see that now. It's a really pretty embossing folder. It's in the new annual catalogue. Painted Posies it's called. And I ran that through my machine with some pool party card. And then I just coloured in some of the embossed areas. So very simply, I decided I would colour the flowers. Now the pool party card bleaches out to white. So you end up with white flowers on a blue background. And there's kind of, I don't know if it's wheat or another flower. It looks a bit like kind of wheat stems to me, as well as the flowers. So wheat and flowers. So I've coloured all the flowers with bleach. And to complete this, I think what I would probably do is come in and colour the wheat stems, perhaps with a watercolour pencil. And add the stems and so on in perhaps a green. But it gives you the most beautiful bright white on your flowers. This one here, you can see that this pool party card is reacting much more slowly to the bleach. It will bleach out. I did these earlier today. And it's going pale, but it's not going nearly as fast as a soft succulent card does. So that's something else to just bear in mind. Some of them react really quickly, some of them take much longer. So I'll set that aside and I'll show you that in a minute. So let's show you a completed project. Move that bleach right out of the way. So here I've used Tahitian Tide and Starry Sky card. I stamped with a stamp from Quiet Meadow, this one here. So stamped in StazOn just as I've just shown you, and then I just coloured the flowers and they've gone quite a creamy white, which I think is very pretty. So on this card I've left the leaves and the stems, and then I've just added in some of the in colour adhesive shapes and a triple bow in the metallic ribbon. So Antriana's saying, does it affect your stamps when you stamp? That's a really good question, Antriana. No, it doesn't, but I wouldn't use photopolymer stamps. I would only use red rubber stamps. When rubber is formed into stamps, it's vulcanized and it becomes an incredibly tough material. And you can do pretty much anything to it without harming it. However, photopolymer is a more delicate material. So if you're using a red rubber stamp, it will be absolutely fine. When I have stamped using bleach, which I'm going to be doing in a minute and showing you, I wash my stamps under just running cool water as quickly as I can once I've finished. So I wouldn't leave my clear up till tomorrow, for instance. Once I'd finished the session, I take everything to the sink, I grab an old toothbrush or something like that, and I gently scrub the stamps to make sure there's no traces of bleach in any of the little nooks and crannies of the stamp. And then I take the stamp off the block and just rinse the label side of it, rinse the block, And I do exactly the same with my water painter. I just rinse it under cool running water and then just let everything air dry, and it's all absolutely fine. And I've been using bleach on some of my stamps for years and it's never caused them any damage at all. But as I say, I wouldn't use photopolymer stamps. I've never tried it, but they are more delicate. You have to be a little bit more careful about what you do with them. Oh, I just drink some of my tea there. Okay, so that's my finished project using stamping and then bleaching out some of that stamp. And let me just pull back this piece of pool party card. So I think it was that flower that I was working on just now. So you can see that that has bleached out much more than before. And by the time it's fully dry, then it will be as pale as all the others are. And you can play around with this with lots of embossing folders. Some of the wood or stone effect ones, if you did them on grey or brown card, you could pick out some elements of the pattern so you've got more like a mottled stone effect, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's now do a little bit of stamping. So this is where I'm going to bring in my bigger lid. I'm going to fold up a piece of kitchen paper, any old kitchen paper. Mine's got a pattern on it, but it doesn't have to have a pattern at all. Probably better almost if it doesn't, but I'm just using what I've got. And I'm going to turn this into effectively an ink pad, except it's going to be a bleach pad. So bring my bleach back, and I'm just going to pour some bleach on here. Now I don't want this to be sopping wet. I don't want puddles of bleach. I just want the paper saturated all the way through with bleach, but not kind of dripping off there. So it's a little bit of trial and error. And I just want the kind of the area with bleach on to be as big as my stamp, or slightly bigger than my stamp, but not a lot bigger. So I'm just going to give that a minute to soak through. So I folded that piece of kitchen paper into 4, so I've got 4 layers of paper there. I'm going to let the bleach soak in, and I've probably got enough on there, but I'll just wait and see. Still a little bit sitting on the surface, but it's soaking in slowly. Let's see if I can. No idea if that will show or not until I can catch it up on my iPad and see what you can see. Yeah, I think you can see that that bleach has soaked in now. All right, so that's my little ink pad that I'm going to use. I've got a couple of pieces of card here. I've got Cherry Cobbler and Starry Sky. And let's bring in a stamp. So this is another stamp from Quiet Meadow. It's this one. When I'm stamping with bleach, I like an outline stamp, so some line imagery rather than a solid stamp. I probably haven't got a solid stamp here to show you. I don't think I have. But not one where everything is shaded in. And even I've tried with our distinctive stamps. So those are the ones where you get lighter and darker areas created by patterns of dots on the stamp. So the image is fairly solid with those, and it works okay, but it doesn't work great. I think you get a much better effect if you can see the natural colour of the card in the areas where you don't have any line imagery. I hope that makes sense. Otherwise what you get is, let's say if this was a solid flower stamp, I would get kind of a round shape that was fully bleached, but there'd be no detail or texture on it. So I think line art works better. So I'm going to ink, in inverted commas, ink up my stamp using my bleach pad and a tapping motion, just as if you were using an ordinary ink pad. And it isn't until I've stamped this at least once that I will know how wet my kitchen paper is. So I'm just going to stamp this down as I would normally and pick it up, and that looks like that's going to be pretty good. So what I'm hoping for is an even coverage on my stamp, so that will lay down an even amount of bleach. You can see that bleach disappearing as it dries and soaks into the paper, and you can hopefully start to see the bleached colour emerging. I'm not holding that in a very good place. Let me see if that's any better. So Starry Sky bleaches to a beautiful kind of turquoise colour. There we are. I think you can see it coming now. Okay, I'm going to do another couple of those because this is one of those techniques where it never comes out the same twice. You know, I may get differing amounts of bleach on my stamp in different places, so I usually do a few extras for whatever project I'm doing, and then I'll pick the best ones. You can't expect to get absolutely identical results every time with this. Even though you're using a rubber stamp, which will normally give you identical results, it won't with bleach. So I'll put that aside and we'll come back to that in a second. Let's use the same stamp on Cherry Cobbler. I don't know what colour this is going to go, so we'll see. So nothing is happening very fast on this. Just starting to go now. I think you can just start to see that bleaching. So this is bleaching. It looks like it's going to be a sort of a pale orange colour. And I hope you can see what I mean about liking line art. So I've got some of the markings on the petals and on the flower centre coming through on that bleached image, which I think makes it much more interesting. And I'm just going to do one more on the starry sky because I think I've got one area on my ink pad or my bleach pad that is wetter than the other. So I've just rotated the stamp a bit more and see if I can get more even coverage of the bleach, and I'll show you that one as well when it's dried a little bit better. So here we are. So here are the Cherry Cobbler ones. You can see those quite clearly now. And this is why I do several. I think that one's probably the best, followed by that one. This one's a little bit sad round here. So stamp a few more than you think you're going to need. This one on Starry Sky down here, this is working better, I think. Working with bleach on a warm day like today is actually ideal. I don't like to use a heat tool to dry bleach. It doesn't seem to me like to be much of a plan. I don't know what kind of chemicals I'm going to be popping into the air, so I don't do that. I let them air dry. But you know, you can let them dry until the next day if necessary. But they're drying really nicely today. So there we are. So my Starry Sky has bleached to a really pretty turquoise. My Cherry Cobbler has bleached to a pale orange. This is my bleachy stamp. So once I've finished doing this today, I will just take that to the sink, brush all over it with an old toothbrush under running water. Then I'll peel it off the block, just rinse the label side just in case I've got any bleach under there. I don't think I have, but just in case, rinse the block and let it air dry, and that will be as good as new for next time. Okay, so let's set those aside for a minute. Sandy's saying it's a beautiful effect. It really is, Sandy. I love the unexpectedness of it. You know, you just don't know what you're going to get when you use bleach. So here's a completed project. I did these in advance just to be sure that the bleach was dry before I started really working with it, rather than cut these out now when they're still just slightly damp. So let me lift that up. So this is the same flower that I've just shown you, which I've stamped on Orchid Oasis and Night of Navy card. Now they have interestingly both bleached out to a similar colour, although it looks slightly different because the background colour is different. And my butterfly is on Sweet Sorbet. So again, they've all bleached to similar colours, which I think is nice because although the card colours are different, the line detail is similar, which I think helps make the card work. The ribbon here is the seam binding ribbon, which I've coloured using my stamping blends. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And I'm also going to show you this beautiful new die here, which I absolutely love. And the happy birthday here is from Happiness Abounds. Here we are, so I've just stamped it vertically. The large flower is this one from Quiet Meadow. And the butterfly is from Butterfly Brilliance. It's which one is it? I stamped 2 and I'm just trying to work out which one I used. I think it's that one. But anyway, one or other of those small ones. So those are all red rubber stamps, so I'm not concerned about using the bleach with them. So in case you haven't seen me do it before, colouring ribbon is fantastic. You can use your inks, or you can use re-inkers mixed with some water or mixed with some rubbing alcohol. You can use your Stampin' Right markers, but my favourite way to colour ribbon is with stamping blends. So this is the seam binding ribbon. It's lovely and soft. It comes with this crumpled look, which I really like. And then you can make it any colour you like, so it doesn't matter what project you're doing. Just run your marker, I use the brush end, along the ribbon and you've instantly got coloured ribbon. Let me put that on there. So it's no longer white, it's now soft seafoam. So you can always have ribbon that matches your project if you've got some white ribbon in your stash and some way of colouring it. But the stamping blends will give you a permanent finish no matter what the ribbon is made of, so I really like those for that. Okay, and I promised I would show you these new dies, which are really beautiful. Let's move the ribbon out of the way. So these are the split card textures dies, and I ought to have checked the page they are in the catalogue. Let me just find them for you and then I can tell you that. Here we go. Page 174. And they're here. So they're not bundled with a particular stamp set. We've got quite a few of those sets in this catalogue actually. So here they are, split card textures. So they cut a roughly diagonal shape, a roughly triangular shape in your layer. So you've got a right angle and then you've got this kind of almost torn effect here on the diagonal. So this is the one that I used on here, and it really cuts incredibly fine detail on here. I don't know what those little crisscrosses measure. They're not even a 1/16 of an inch. No, they're about, I never know whether it's a 32th or a 32nd. They're about a 32nd of an inch. So you get 2 of these per 1/16 of an inch. They're really fine. It's absolutely beautiful die. It cuts like a dream. It was easy to get the confetti to pop out. That wasn't a big job at all. And then the other die in the set is this one, which has got kind of part daisies almost. They make me think of daisies anyway. It's like a diagonally cut daisy shape. So I was excited when I saw these in the catalogue. I couldn't get them early. I had to wait for the catalogue to launch, but I really like them and I think there's so much that I'm going to be able to do with those. So there we go. So that's the stamped effect. And let me bring back the painted effect. So Sandy's ordering those dies. Definitely do, Sandy. Good plan. So using bleach in your crafting gives you an unexpected way of, I was going to say adding colour. You're actually taking away colour, aren't you? But it feels like adding colour. Practice on the card colour that you want to use, because you can't be certain what the results are going to be. It's very variable. I find I get anything from blues through oranges, yellows, greens, whites and creams. So you really don't know what you're going to get. It's a good idea to label your pieces of card with the colour and then have a bit of a practice and make a little sampler. I've only done the greens so far, but I think I probably need to do all my other colour families as well. And then play around, just play around. You're never going to get a completely perfect result. This is not one of those techniques. It's more of an artistic technique rather than a really precise technique. So embrace the imperfections and the uncertainty, and then I think you'll have a lot of fun, whether you stamp with it or whether you paint with it. Now I ran this through my embossing machine, but of course I could have stamped and heat embossed something and then done exactly the same in the spaces here, painted with bleach, and then the outline, instead of being raised card, would have been heat embossing. But it's quite helpful to keep your colouring neat if you've got some kind of an outline that you're working inside of. It just keeps the bleach a little bit contained. Make sure that you're sensible with bleach. It's a bit pongy, so have a window open, wear old clothes, don't ruin your favourite top, and just rinse everything well in cold water when you've finished for cleanup. Cleanup is easy, just watch that you don't splash anything. But you know, if you do cleaning in your home, and I'm sure you all do, you don't have to do anything more complicated than you would normally if you were working with bleach. Except I know what I would rather be doing with it, and it would not be cleaning. Okay, so let me know if you've got any further questions. I'm just going to turn this back up so I can talk to you properly again. Let's just undo my settings and hopefully that looks like it's correct. I'm just going to drink some more tea. My throat is very dry. That's better. So a little bit different craft and chat today. All about technique rather than all about the finished projects, but that's fun sometimes. I would absolutely love to see whether you have a go at playing with bleach in your crafting, and send me a photo. You can send it by email or you can pop one in the comments below here. We would all love to see what you come up with. And I will be back in 3 weeks. Gosh, so what's the date of the next craft and chat? I will put an event up so you'll be able to check back on my page and see when the next one is. So I won't be here next week because it's the Queen's Jubilee. I won't be here on the 10th because I'm attending a reunion. So I will next be here on the 17th of June. Goodness me, that's practically midsummer. So until then, have some lovely crafting times. Enjoy yourself. You know where to get hold of me if you've got any questions or anything I can help with, and I will look forward to seeing you on the 17th of June. Thank you so much for joining me and take care. Bye bye.